Good afternoon, all. I'm George Proler, and it's my honor to introduce Mr. Rodrigo Mora, who is a senior member of IEEE and a principal security researcher at Microsoft. He has more than 20 years of experience spanning cybersecurity, financial markets, and large-scale technology transformation. His career includes serving as a CIO, CISO, as an executive leader across global financial institutions and industrial companies. He's led major turnarounds, built security programs from the ground up, and managed large teams and multi-million-dollar budgets. Rodrigo is an entrepreneur and founder of a high-frequency trading firm and combines a deep technical expertise with strategic judgment, mentorship, and a strong track record of delivering lasting positive business impact. He is here today to share some insights into how experienced professionals can drive value beyond execution. Welcome, Rodrigo.
Thank you, George. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. So my name is Rodrigo Mora. I'm a principal security engineer, and also I'm a IEEE senior member. I'm originally from Brazil, but I'm currently living in Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States. Today, we're here to talk about how experienced professionals drive value that goes far beyond simply executing tasks. We're going to explore what it means to truly leverage the deep expertise for strategic impact in engineering and technology. So let's dive in. So this is the agenda for today. We are talking about the evolving role of experienced professionals, understanding the execution trap, defining value beyond execution, the power of experience, strategic contributions of experienced professionals, overcoming barriers and unblocking value, and the key takeaways and call to action at the end. So the role of experienced professionals has changed. Execution is still essential, but it's still no longer enough for its own. Today, real value comes from using experience to shape direction, make sound judgments in uncertainty, and help organizations avoid problems before they happen. So why does moving beyond execution matter? Let me start with a simple question. How many of you have ever felt like you're capable of contributing so much more than what your current role or projects allow? That's exactly what we're here to address. The role of experienced professionals in tech engineering is evolving rapidly. We are moving from a world where success was measured purely by task completion, by how many tickets you closed, how many features you shipped, to one of where strategic value creation is becoming the differentiator. And this shift is critical for organization success in today's fast-changing world. Technology is moving fast. Business models transform overnight. The competitive landscape shifts constantly. In this environment, companies that only have great executors will struggle. They need strategic thinkers. They need people who can see around corners. We are united by common desire to continuously learn, innovate, and drive technology forward. And today, I want to help you unlock even more of that potential. So why over-focusing on execution limits growth? Let me start by defining what I call the execution trap. We may have reliable execution, and don't get me wrong, execution is absolutely essential. Delivering tasks on time, meeting specifications, following established processes, completing assignments, these are all important skills. You need to be good at it. But there's a problem. You over-focus exclusively on execution. You hit some serious limitations. When all of your energy goes into task completion, you have little room for strategic thinking. You're so busy checking boxes that you don't lift your head up to see the bigger picture. You miss higher value opportunities. Maybe there's a better way to architect that system. Maybe there's a pattern you've seen before that could prevent a major issue down the road. If your head's down in execution mode, you won't see it. This limits your organizational impact. You become seen as a doer rather than a thinker. While doers are valuable, they're also more easily replaceable. And most importantly, it constrains your professional growth. If you want to move into senior IC roles, into principal or distinguished engineer positions, you need to demonstrate value beyond execution. The promotion criteria changes as you level up. So the execution trap is real, and it's something that we need to actively work to avoid. So what does value beyond execution actually mean? Let me break it down into 5 key pillars. First is strategy. This means you're not just implementing what others decide. You're helping shape the technical strategy. You're influencing the what and the why, not just the how. Second is innovation. You're generating novel solutions. You're challenging assumptions. You're bringing fresh thinking into old problems based on patterns you've recognized across your career. Third is leadership. And I want to be clear here. I'm not talking about management. I'm talking about technical leadership. Leading through expertise, through influence, through the trust you've built. Guiding teams to better outcomes without needing a manager title. Fourth, relationships. Building and leveraging networks across your organization and industry. Creating connections that unlock collaboration and remove blockers. And fifth, knowledge. Sharing what you know, documenting insights, mentoring others, making your tacit knowledge explicit so it can benefit the entire organization. When you operate in these 5 areas, you create outsized, lasting impact that goes well beyond completing the assigned work. You become a strategic asset, not just a resource. So how experience builds unique capabilities? Let's talk about why experience matters so much. What is a typical engineering career progression? You start as a junior engineer in those first couple of years. You move to mid-level around 3 or 5 maybe. Senior engineer typically hits around 6 to 10 years. And then principal, staff, or distinguished roles comes after maybe a decade or more. But it's not just about time served. It's about what the time builds in you. Experience builds pattern recognition. This is really important. And as you've seen hundreds of projects, thousands of bugs, dozens of architectural decisions, you start to see solutions that others miss. You recognize, oh, I've seen this before. Here's what worked, here's what didn't. Experience builds contextual judgment. You understand the nuances. You see the implications of decisions that are not immediately obvious. Experience also builds intuition. You develop like a sixth sense for something when something is off. You can make quick, accurate decisions based on pattern matching that happens almost unconsciously. And experience builds systems thinking. You connect dots across different domains. You see how a change in one system may affect the others. You understand the interconnections. These are all capabilities that simply cannot be taught. This brings us to one of the most important concepts in this entire presentation, which is tacit knowledge. We have explicit knowledge. This stuff you can write down, document procedures, written standards, code in your repositories, technical specifications. This is knowledge that is easy to transfer. You can teach it formally through documentation, training programs, onboarding materials. And then we have the tacit knowledge. Tacit knowledge is your experience-based intuition. It's the judgment calls you make. It's the problem-solving approaches that you've refined over the years. It's all the unwritten know-how that lives in your head. Here's the thing. Tacit knowledge is incredibly difficult to transfer. You cannot just write it in a wiki. It's absorbed through observation, practice, making mistakes, and learning from them. And this is exactly why this is such a competitive advantage. Your competitors can hire smart tuning engineers. They can copy your tech stack. They can read the same documentation you have, but they cannot easily replicate 10 years of accumulated judgment and pattern recognition. So tacit knowledge enables faster decision-making because you're not starting from scratch every time. It drives innovation because you can combine insights into different past experience in new ways. It creates sustainable competitive advantage because it's hard to copy. Organizations that figure out how to cultivate, leverage, and transfer tacit knowledge effectively have a huge leg up on the competition. And what are those strategic contributions? So let's talk about strategic foresight and vision. This is one of the most valuable contributions experienced engineers make. Here's the progression. You start today, current operations and challenges, but you don't stop there. You analyze. This is where your pattern recognition kicks in. You're spotting trends. You're connecting dots across different contexts. You're seeing signals that others miss because they don't have your historical perspective. And then you envision in the future. You align your technical work with long-term strategic goals. You anticipate where the technology is heading and position your organization ready for it. How do experienced engineers lead in this era? Let me give you a few specific ways. First, you anticipate tech shifts because they can disrupt operations. You saw the shift to cloud before it was obvious. You recognize the importance of AI because it dominated every conversation. You're always looking 3 to 5 years ahead. Second, you connect insights into projects, teams, and contexts. You see what the security team learned last quarter and has implications for what infrastructure is implementing in the next quarter. Third, you align daily technical decisions with long-term, oh, I'm sorry. Oops. Okay, sorry about that. So you connect insights across projects, teams, and contexts. You see what the security team learned last quarter and has implications to the future. The third, you align technical decisions with long-term strategic goals. Every code review, every architecture discussion becomes an opportunity to steer towards a future state you envision. And fourth, you translate technical possibilities into business opportunities. You can talk to leadership in their language about why investing in this particular technical direction will open up new market opportunities. This strategic value that goes far beyond the writing code. Now, let's talk about decision making under uncertainty. This is where experience really shines. I want you to look at your this decision matrix. In one axis, we have data quality, in the other, we have complexity. In the top left quadrant, we have simple decisions with clear data. Anyone can make these decisions, you just follow the data. Top right is complex decisions, but with good data. Junior engineers can handle these. Bottom left is simple decisions with poor data. These require some judgment, but they are still relatively straightforward. But that bottom right quadrant, complex decisions with uncertainty, that's where the gold star is. This is where experience becomes absolutely critical. When you're facing a decision where the requirements are ambiguous, the data is incomplete, the stakes are high, and you need to move fast, that's when 10 years of pattern recognition becomes invaluable. Experience enables you to navigate through ambiguity with confidence. You've been in certain situations before. You know that the perfect information never arrives. You're comfortable in making calls anyway. You can balance complex trade-offs. Your intuition understands that improving security might slow down development velocity. You know how to find the right balance for your specific context. You make calls with incomplete data. You know what information is truly critical versus nice to have. You can work it out from partial and mixed signals. You know when to move fast and when to slow down and think deeper. These are judgment skills that only come with experience. Now let's talk about leadership and influence. And I want to emphasize we're talking about influence without formal authority. You don't need to be a manager to be a leader. People will come to you if they trust your judgment. You're proving yourself over the years of making good calls, but people know you have their back. You help people see the bigger picture. You connect their work to larger goals. You also through outcome shaping. You don't just execute. You influence what gets executed in the first place. Mentorship and knowledge transfer. This is one of the highest leverage activities experienced professionals can engage in. Industry research shows that organizations with strong mentorship programs see about 50% reduction in onboarding time. Think about that. You're cutting half the times it takes to hire new productivity. You get faster ramp up. You preserve critical institutional knowledge. You build continuous capabilities. Mentorship creates a multiplier effect. You accelerate innovation through shared insights. Organizations that invest in formal mentorship programs see dramatically better retention, faster skills development, and stronger organization resilience. So now let's talk about innovation and creative problem solving. You challenge assumptions because you've seen assumptions and proven wrong before. You're comfortable with questioning them. You generate novel solutions. You can combine ideas from different domains in ways that others don't see. You create breakthroughs. You bring new approaches. You practice new creative synthesis. And you are able to cross-pollination. You connect people and ideas across silos. Here's a quote I love. Experience is not about knowing all the answers. It's about knowing better questions. Risk management and resilience building. This is an area where experience provides enormous value that's often invisible until something goes wrong. Early warning signs. You've seen this pattern before. You recognize when you see this particular combination of factors, there's usually a problem lurking. You catch it before it becomes a crisis. You identify vulnerabilities before they're exploited. Then you develop mitigation strategies. You architect for failure resilience. You don't assume everything will work perfectly. And when crises do happen, you navigate them with calm decision-making under pressure. You've been through production incidents before. You know how to triage. You don't panic. You focus on rapid recovery. This is about making the whole organization more robust. Here's the bottom line. Experience teaches you not just how to solve problems, but how to prevent them in the first place. And prevention is always cheaper than cure. Stakeholder management and network leverage. This is about recognizing that technical excellence alone isn't enough. You need relationships. How do experienced professionals create value through networks? Let me give you 4 ways. First, you build trust-based relationships that unlock collaboration. Second, you leverage connections through smooth execution and remove blockers. Third, you create opportunities through strategic relationship cultivation. Fourth, you bridge silos. In large organizations, especially, these bridging connections are incredibly valuable. So many problems come down to communication breakdowns between groups. Experienced professionals who can navigate across boundaries become indispensable. Facilitating change and transformation. This is a critical role that experienced professionals play, especially in today's fast-moving technology landscape. How do experienced professionals drive transformation? First and foremost, credibility. You've been around, people will respect your technical judgment. Cultural navigation. You understand your organizational dynamics. You know where resistance will come from. Through architecting the transitions that maintain operational stability. This is huge. You can't just flip a switch and migrate to a new architecture. You need phased approach. You need to keep the lights on while you're rewiring the house. Experience teaches how you to do that. Stakeholder management. You build coalitions, you identify champions, you manage expectations so people know what's coming in and why it matters. And through connecting immediate changes to long-term strategic goals. People resist change when they do not understand the why. And this is really important. Experienced professionals can articulate the vision in a way that makes the short-term pain feel worthwhile. I've seen transformations fail because they were driven by smart but inexperienced people who did not understand their organization dynamics. And I've been seeing transformations succeed because experienced leaders guided them with credibility, cultural awareness, and strategic vision. Now let's talk about overcoming those barriers. There are real challenges and barriers in operating this way. On the organizational side, you might be siloed in an execution role with no time is allocated for mentorship or strategic work. On the cultural side, there can be generational gaps in communication styles and values. On the personal side, the imposter syndrome is real, especially when you're trying to operate more strategically. You might have difficulty in articulating your value in these less tangible areas. These are all real obstacles. So I don't want to minimize them. But here's the good news. All of these challenges are solvable with the right strategies, which bring us to the next slides. You're in a position to influence organizational policy. Whether you're in a leadership or you're advocating for change, here are 6 strategies that organizations can implement to unlock the value of experienced professionals. Strategy 1, create IC leadership tracks. Staff, principal, distinguished engineers path to with clear expectations that include strategic work, not just coding. Make it explicit that at these levels, you're evaluated on things like architectural decisions, mentorship, and strategic influence. Strategy 2, allocate time for strategic work. Make like 20% of your time for mentorship, innovation, and knowledge sharing official, not extra. If you tell people mentorship is important, but you don't give time for it, they won't do it. People build into their job descriptions that performance goals. Strategy 3, build recognition systems that celebrate knowledge sharing. Mentorship and architectural decisions alongside feature delivery. In all of your all hands meetings, recognize not just the team that shipped the big feature, but the engineer who mentored 3 junior developers or the architect who prevented a major incident through a smart design review. Strategy 4, implement structured mentorship programs. Formal pairing ICs with growing engineers, tracked and rewarded. Don't just hope that mentorship happens organically. Create structures that make it happen. Strategy 5, build knowledge management systems, tools and processes for capturing tacit knowledge, architecture decision records, design docs, tech talks, brown bags. Create forums where people can share insights. And strategy 6, include senior engineers in cross-functional involvement. Bring them into strategy discussions, product planning sessions, hiring decisions. Their perspective is valuable beyond the engineering team. Organizations that implement these strategies see far better retention, faster skill development, and more innovation. It's not just good for the engineers, it's good for the business. Now, regardless of whether your organization has implemented those strategies, these are things you can do personally to drive strategic value. Strategy 1, shift your mindset. You're not just an engineer. Strategy 2, document everything. Capture your decision rationale. Make your tacit knowledge explicit so others can learn from it. Strategy 3, build influence networks. Invest in relationships across teams. Don't just sit in your corner with your team. Strategy 4, seek strategic visibility. Offer to give tech talks, join standards committees, participate in hiring panels. These are opportunities to demonstrate strategic thinking and build influence. Strategy 5, develop communication skills. This is so important. Learn to translate technical complexity into business impact. Practice explaining why your work matters in terms of non-engineers understand. Your CFO doesn't care about your choice of database. They care that you reduce operational costs by X%. Strategy 6, mentor deliberately. Proactively offer guidance. Share your insights. These mentorships often happen informally. And strategy 7, measure and articulate your impact. Track not just what you built, but what you helped, what you prevented, what you enabled. When performance reviews time comes, you want to be able to say that. These 7 strategies put you in the driver's seat of your own career, regardless of what the organization is or is not doing. Key takeaways and call to action. What do I want to remember from today? First, execution is essential, but experience creates value beyond tasks. Never stop being good at execution, but don't let that be all you do. Second, tacit knowledge, your judgment, your networks, these are organizational assets. You have value that goes beyond your hands-on keyboard. Recognize that value and leverage it. Third, strategic impact comes from what you enable, not just what you deliver. The features you ship are important, but the engineers you mentor, the incidents you prevent, the decisions you influence, these create compounding value over time. Fourth, both organizations and individuals must actively cultivate this value. Organizations need to create the structures and incentives. Individuals need to step up and claim the space. It takes both. This is my call to action. You identify one strategic contribution that you can make this month that goes beyond your assigned tasks. Maybe you mentor someone who could benefit from your experience. Maybe you document a critical decision that your knowledge doesn't stay locked in your head. Maybe you influence a strategic discussion by bringing a technical perspective through a business conversation. This is just one thing. Start there. Because here's what you have learned. The most fulfilled, impactful engineers I know are the ones who figured out how to leverage the experiences strategically. They're just not grinding through tickets. They're shaping the future of their organizations, and they're loving it. In summary, experienced professionals offer far more than task execution. They bring strategic foresight, leadership that propel organizations forward. By embracing their unique capabilities, organizations can unlock innovation, manage risks effectively, and foster growth. Moving beyond execution to value creation is essential for sustained success and resilience in rapidly changing business environment. That's my challenge to you. Now, I'd love to open for questions and discussion. Let me see the chat. So feel free to ask any questions. We have 3 minutes. Okay, I don't see anything. So thank you for attending. The next session will start in 2 minutes, and I'll see you around. Thank you very much.